Hey, what's going on, my friends? Misha Wilson here, and in today's video I'm actually following up on a post that I went ahead and posted a couple days ago, and I wanted to talk about identification and the fact that identification is the ultimate shortcut for you to go ahead and create sales in your home-based business. So in the last previous video that I went ahead and posted a couple days ago, I talked about the fact that most people go ahead and they build their email lists, and after they build their list, they just have this idea that they're going to send videos to that list, podcast episodes, blog posts, etc. They're going to build this relationship with that list, and then anybody's just going to purchase whatever they have to offer moving forward based on that relationship, right? And I talked about the fact that that's not actually the truth. And while it absolutely does help to have a relationship built with your audience, with your list, you have to focus on learning how to sell if you want to create any profits from an email list, right? So that was the core message of the last video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about the ultimate shortcut, which I went ahead and referenced in the last video, and talk about how you can use it in order to create profits more quickly with your email list that you're either building or need to get out and start building, right? So identification is the ultimate shortcut. So when you look at all the various podcast episodes, the YouTube videos, the blog posts that everybody thinks they need to send their list, which they should send their list in order to create familiarity, right? But when you look at those things, the core kind of goal of having all those things in your marketing is to create trust with your audience, right? To create a bond and trust with your audience. And while that can happen over a long period of time with YouTube videos, with podcast episodes, with blog posts, etc., the fastest way for you to go ahead and create a bond and really the deepest level of trust possible with your audience is to create identification with your audience using stories, all right? So more or less what identification is when you can tell your audience that you've been exactly where they currently are, you've been in their situation, you've felt their pain, you've gone through their struggles, you identify with what they're currently going through, but you found the solution and you're now on the path, or you've already created the result that they're looking to create, right? So that's identification, when you identify with their exact problems. And how you use it to the maximum of its effectiveness is, firstly, you need to know exactly what your prospects are going through, right? So a perfect example of identification, just circling back to these little videos I'm making right now, is if I talk about the fact that, yeah, you know, you're making YouTube video after YouTube video, and you're writing blog post after blog post, and you're creating podcast episode after podcast episode, etc., and you're just not seeing the current level of result that you're looking for. I've personally been there myself, and I expended so much energy and so much effort and so much money on all those various mediums, and I never saw any result, and it frustrated me, etc. Do you see how I created identification there? I talked about the exact things you're doing. I talked about the pains surrounding those exact activities that you're currently facing, and just kind of the results that aren't as good as you were hoping they would be, right? And then I talked about, or I haven't talked about yet, but you'd bridge the gap to the solution that you found that took you away from those pains, right? So that's storytelling 101. You want to focus on the struggle, the pain, the kind of like the dark place you were in, and then focus on finding the solution that you went ahead and tapped into in order to get out of that place of pain. But what you really want to focus on most, all your efforts and energy when you build your story, is creating identification at a very deep level with your prospects, because identification is literally the ultimate level, or the ultimate just kind of medium through which you can build trust, and the deepest trust you can build, because now that individual looks at you as someone who's been where they are, have managed to escape that pains, the struggles, the overwhelms, etc., that they're dealing with, and have now found a better way that that prospect can then follow. So it's both trust and it's authority building based on you being able to kind of describe the exact situation that that prospect's in, right? They more or less look at you as someone who has to know their stuff because you're describing their situation perfectly. So it's a little bit hard to explain. There's whole courses on creating a bond with your audience using stories, etc. But the ultimate shortcut is to create trust with identification. Create trust with identification with your email follow-up series. So right when someone gets on your list, immediately start emailing them your story-based emails in order to create identification and a bond with your audience. Immediately get them on a webinar where you go ahead and you share your story, you create identification, and then you sell maybe a $200, $300 product at the end of that webinar, all right? That's the biggest shortcut you can go ahead and utilize in your marketing in order to make the most money with the new leads that are coming on your list without having to wait, you know, a year, 2 years, etc., in order to make a sale to that prospect after warming them up, creating hundreds of these various videos, right? So while these videos are absolutely valuable, while you should be creating content, with the goal of building trust with your audience, the ultimate shortcut for you to go ahead and tap into in order to create trust pretty much instantly is identification. Identify with your audience, tell your audience that you've been exactly where they are, you've known their pains, you've known their struggles, share your story, create that bond with your audience, and then sell immediately to your audience using that identification in your sales presentation. So guys, having said that, I hope you got a ton of value out of this little second episode in this little video series that I went ahead and shot. If you did, leave me a quick comment below on this blog post, share on social media if you got immense value. And if you're if you're struggling to generate traffic and leads for your business, be sure to download my free report, The 5 Pillars of Profitable Business Building Traffic, where I share with you exactly how I generate 75 to 100 leads every single day in my own business, and exactly how you can too. Having said that, I'm actually going to go hop in the ocean. Over and out. I will talk with you very soon.